I'm sorry. Yeah.
So no, shifting over from journalism to law. How do the two compare?
Journalism and law, two sides of the same coin. I'll tell you how. In journalism, you have your who, when, where, why, what, and how. In law, it's the same thing. In law,
but law, there's a lot of procedure and legalities and legalese involved, no?
Yeah, just see, in journalism, we make the complex simple. In law, we make the simple complex. To tell you the truth, to tell you a secret, journalism make the complex simple and law make the simple complex. See, what you call your who, when, where, why, what, and how is simply in law when you are drafting. You have a conference with a client. Okay, who is this client? What is he telling me? What is the cause of action? Who are the parties involved? What is the relief which I want from the judge? So the same 5 W's on the one edge. I don't see anything different.
But with a lot of procedure, no? You have to be perfect in your procedure, no, Olav?
You have to be perfect in your procedure, no doubt. But what you do in journalism, you do in law. I'll explain. Just see. Now I'm interacting with you.
Yeah.
In journalism, I meet a source. Yeah. The source may be a judge, he may be a gangster like Karim Lala, he may be a minister. Yeah. Correct? In law, we call it a conference. Yeah. The client comes and sits in front of me and he briefs me. Yeah. And I put it down in paper.
But is the equation the same? Are you asking him with a kind of idea of getting out the story? Yes.
Same thing. I don't see that difference. Because you're using your 5 W's when you're questioning your source. You're using the same 5 W's when you're questioning your client. How is it different? Because he comes and sits in front of me. Yeah. I have to understand the cause of action. In law, we call it the cause of action. Yeah. So what is the cause of action? Your 1 W. What is the identity of my client? What is the identity of his opponent? And what role does the opponent play? What role has this
very interesting.
This guy play?
Interesting.
So same thing. I don't see the difference.
Interesting.
Ultimately, what is the relief clause? Yeah. It ends in a relief clause. The relief clause means what I want from the court. Yeah. And does the court have jurisdiction to give it to me? Yeah. So what is the jurisdiction of the court? Yeah. Jurisdiction means power of the court. For example, if I'm filing a bail application, I go to the lowest court. Yeah. Okay. So what is the jurisdiction? What is the role of the what is the name of the defendant? What is his role? Who is the plaintiff? Or who is the accused person? What is his role? When did the offense take place? I'll make it very simple for you. We have an FIR. In law, you call it an FIR, First Information Report. What is the meaning of FIR? Where did the crime take place? When did it take place? And how did it take place? So pinpoint. In journalism, you have your who, when, where. Okay? What took place, when, where. Same thing. What is an FIR? What took place? When, where.
So which field did you enjoy better?
I can't say I enjoyed both.
Both marriages were as successful or as prone with problems.
No, I enjoyed both because I am enjoying. See, what I was doing in journalism, doing in law.
How many years in each?
Journalism more than 30 years. Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you my age, but I joined at the age of 21. Okay. Free press, and I moved through all the papers. Yeah. In law, I worked.
At what age you joined law?
In law, I was in my 40s.
40s.
Yeah.
Early, mid, late?
A bit late, yeah, because I was in journalism. Yeah. And you can't practice 2 professions simultaneously.
Yeah. Law doesn't allow you for that.
Doesn't allow you. So you have to show your resignation letter before they will give you your sanad. So I had to show I took in VRS from the Times of India. Okay. So I had to show my VRS.
Really?
Yeah. That I have taken VRS because everybody whole High Court knew me.
Everyone knew you already.
I was a High Court correspondent. So judges, lawyers. In fact, I was privileged. The Additional Solicitor General, he okayed my application for my sanad.
He okayed it?
Yeah, he okayed it because he was everybody knew me. Very nice guys. And there was a chap now called Varis Pathan. He always comes on TV. He's the junior of that MIM, that Muslimin they are around. He seconded my application for the Sanat. He's a very colorful MLA of that OIC.
Also lawyer?
Yeah, he's also a lawyer.
So can you be a politician and a lawyer at the same time?
Most of them are. To be a good politician, you're a good lawyer.
So you're allowed to?
See, that's a debatable term now in the Bar Council. No, it had gone to the Bar Council of India. And the Bar Council of India is saying there's nothing wrong if a politician is a lawyer. But I want to raise this question. A doctor cannot be a lawyer. Journalist cannot be a lawyer. See, you can't practice 2 professions. How
is some serving society and some others not?
See, if you say a politician is serving society, so also is a journalist. So also is a doctor. So also is a nurse. So also is a chartered accountant.
Yeah, so is a teacher.
So also is a teacher. So why do you make an exception only for politicians, for ministers, for politicians? like your Chidambaram, correct, or your Jetli, correct. If they are politicians, they should surrender their sanat. Because I was privileged over there. There was this Maharashtra law minister, Ramrao Adik. He was I knew him very well.
I see.
He was one of my sources of information. When I was dead, I can tell that truth also. He had given me some good stories. And the joke about him was that, I mean, he's dead, I don't want to say because he'll hurt, but he's a nice guy. The joke about him was that when he lost the elections, he would come to the High Court, and when he won the elections, he would go to the Legislative Assembly. So I don't see why. I mean, if you don't allow journalists, you don't allow teachers, you don't allow chartered accountants, you don't allow others who are also equally learned, how do you allow politicians?
So do you feel that journalists or others need a second career somewhere along the line? Because
absolutely. It will widen your horizons. As I told you, like nowhere in India is law reporting being any justice. They don't even scratch the surface. Not even, in the High Court, a judge has 150 matters on his board. And at least 70% of those matters make news. You wait for the judgment, final judgment will make news. You see the politics between the judges. I'll just say something because I was High Court correspondent. With greatest respect to the judiciary, I have the greatest respect for them. My dad was a lawyer and all that. But judges, learned, intelligent as they are human beings. And a judge, there's a very rigid seniority in the judiciary. A judge who's sworn in as a judge 10 minutes before another judge is senior to him by 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. It takes place because a judge enters a courtroom in the High Court, Bombay High Court.
Yeah.
The person who enters the courtroom head is the senior judge.
My goodness.
And as you are facing as I'm arguing, because I have appeared in the High Court, if it's a two-judge division bench, we call it. The judge on your left-hand side is the
junior.
Is the junior. No, is the senior.
Senior.
And the one on your right-hand side is a junior.
Right.
Correct?
You're right.
And if it's a three-judge bench, very rarely, the one in the center is the senior most. The one on your left is senior, and then the junior most is on your right. So that's a rule which I was given by my teachers. So I was lucky at LLM to have very good professors like Justice Radhakrishnan. He was a retired High Court judge. Dhananjay Chandrachud, I knew them very well. Very intelligent guys. Now, as I told you, as you enter the courtroom, the person who's just a step ahead, he's a senior judge. So they are very, very rigid about seniority. You are sworn in half an hour before the other guy. You're senior member half an hour. And there is sort of jealousy, it's too strong of a rivalry like that, about disposal of cases. Now, for example, you're senior, like Ashutosh Kumbhakoni. I knew him very well, nice guy, very learned chap. He resigned because of his seniority issue. I knew him when he was a lawyer, and I was a Times of India journalist. He had given me a story about the son-in-law of the then Maharashtra Chief Minister Manohar Joshi, where the rules were flouted by Manohar Joshi to benefit his son-in-law. Now, I was the first journalist to get hold of the story. I had the writ petition with me. I got the story. I filed the story. And it went to Balakrishnan, again went to Dina Vakil. Again, they didn't publish it. They're talking about some policy or whatever. And a very good story was held back and not published, as a result of which it was broken by the Express or some paper. Ultimately, Justice Sri Krishna, he ordered the demolition of the building. Now, these left me a bit because these were good stories of mine which have been in my track record. Doesn't matter now. But very good stories which never saw the light of day. But if you talk about performance appraisal, your performance appraisal is totally subjective. No objectivity over there. So I'm totally against this contract system because it doesn't mean that because of A gets an excellent appraisal, he's better than B. It doesn't mean that at all.
Olav, in terms of recommendations for journalists wanting to cover the judiciary,
right?
What are your tips? Where should they go? Where should they start? Is it the High Court that has more stories?
Start at the lowest court. Start at the magistrate's court. Because the masala, you get the garam masala over there. A person is arrested. I'm using journalistic terms.
Yeah.
A person is arrested for whatever it is. A politician, you say like, should I mention names like Digambar Kamath or Chachalam? I like them, a nice place.
Yeah.
See, the bail application comes up in the magistrate's court. That's a lowermost court. Then you go to the sessions court, like the trial starts at the sessions court, then the High Court. Don't start in the High Court because it's very complex and they'll get confused. And even if you start in the magistrate's court, spend about 1 month, know what is a bail application, know what are the powers of a magistrate's court. Then after you get your fundas, go to the sessions court. And then after the sessions court, go to the High Court. Here we have good judges. I remember like Savaikar is one, then Desmond DeCosta, then many good judges. Some of these ladies have become High Court judges They are from Goa. And they are very good judges. There's this lady judge, forget her name, High Court judge.
Anuja?
Anuja Prabhu Desai. Anuja Prabhu Desai. She's one of them. I think there was some controversy about her. Then she was brought to the High Court. So, see, what was the controversy? What happened? What was the background? None of this comes in the press. The judiciary is the only organ of the state which is selected in secrecy, not elected. And they are not answerable to anybody. They are not accountable to anybody. That people don't know this.
If we want a better judiciary, we have to discuss it. We have to understand it probably.
Right. That means covering them. But when the judiciary goes totally uncovered, I'm sorry to say in Goa there's absolutely zero coverage of the judiciary. Because many things take place. There was one good story I was told by one of my colleagues. He's a very good chief reporter, very nice chap, very good, very intelligent chap. But he got hold of the papers. The lawyer made a complaint against a judge saying he doesn't understand law, doesn't know anything about law. And he has given ridiculous judgments and all that. And he has given some examples and it reached the journalist. And I told him, I said, see, you can cover this. First, go to the SID department. Get their version.
Which department?
It's called Subsidiary Investigation Department. What happens in the judiciary in the Bombay High Court, the police have no jurisdiction to investigate.
Court matters.
Not court matters, any complaint against a judge or a magistrate. They have to take the permission of the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court or the district judge or whatever. They have no authority at all. So what happens, there's a department called the SID. There's a hierarchy, and it's a department which is like a police of the judiciary. May I take this or don't take it? I'll just take it. I'll take it later. No, I'll take it later. It's my answer. I'm just a bit worried. I'll call them later.
Sorry. We'll finish in 2 minutes.
No, take your time. It's a pleasure to talk. This is the internal police of the judiciary. Now, supposing a magistrate, person is sworn in as a magistrate or a judge. They have a file. Everybody has a file. So your disposal rate, your quality of judgments, how you behave in court, everything is taken into consideration. Now, if a person may be very good, but he or she behaves discourteously, then there's somebody called a guardian judge. That means a high court judge is like if you have a guardian minister. He's given charge of a particular center of courts, like family courts or magistrates courts or whatever the courts may be. So the decision whether to promote or not promote, demote, what is the performance appraisal, like what we do in journalism, is done in the judiciary. So the file of that judge, say a magistrate, low level magistrate, his disposal rate is not very good. They are supposed to dispose, say, per year some matters, per annum, I don't know, maybe about 600, 700 matters. I don't know the exact figure. But they are supposed to dispose. Somebody is worried about me. I'll just let it go. Okay, let it be. Just cut it.
Sorry.
No problem. They are supposed to dispose of matters. If they don't dispose of the matters, they are deemed to be incompetent. So then they are compulsorily retired. They are called by the High Court and they are told either you put in your papers or we'll hold an inquiry and we'll throw you out. That will be bad for you. So put in your papers and get out. So they're called. Now these are things which you have to interact. You have to cover full time. Now this happens here. In Bombay it happens. So many magistrates or corruption charges. Serious corruption charges. I don't want to mention, I feel embarrassed to say, like once...
we'll keep it off the record.
Keep off the record, because I can tell you some other time. Like once a magistrate was asked, he asked from openly money and all that, and other things which are sexual nature and so many things. I don't want to go into that. Most of the judiciary are good, but there are some rotten apples. Now the complaint is to go to the High Court, Chief Justice is to compulsory retirement. There was one very interesting case, one was a magistrate, and we had section 138 matters, bouncing of checks. Now he's to negotiate, with the opposite sides. Like one guy would offer this much and the other guy would offer more. So he'd return the money. So the High Court came to know of it and they sent this. SID means they are headed by judges themselves, who are district judges. So they themselves are. So I know the whole thing about the judiciary. So these guys were sent incognito and they just entered the chamber of that fellow and opened his drawer and there was a huge board of 1 lakh rupees in cash. So that he was told he just came out from the courtroom and he was packed off there and then. He was suspended and thrown out there and then. So these cases go unreported. It's sensational. A magistrate, another case, magistrate who was there, he was told to come out of the courtroom and same guy. He was told to just pack off. Because cash was found in his drawer.
I see.
So these cases go unreported. You have to have a reporter who's covering it.
Thank you so much for this insight into this, into so many aspects of law and journalism, and thank you for sharing it with us today.
My pleasure.